Hey everybody, this is Dana with CoachDanaInspires.com. We are so excited that you are here today. We have a super guest today. We've had him on before because the last time we had him on, it was such an interesting interview with so much great information that we really wanted to come back around and follow up on that. So our guest today is Marty Dickinson of Here Next Year. And so, hello, Marty. How are you doing
Hello,
today?
hello.
Oh, no.
Hey, why can't we have fun on virtual live, huh? Come on.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm going to have fun too. Bow
All
wow,
right,
bow
there
wow.
you go.
That's
Everybody
right.
has to have their little stuffed animal or
We
vegetable or fruit, whichever is yours.
what is pineapple? I don't know what that is. Anyway, how are you, Marty? How are you doing? How's the fam?
Oh, we're doing awesome. Yeah, kids are back in school. That's always a good thing.
Yes. Yeah,
And
that's
working. They're old
it.
enough now, they're earning paychecks, so that's always fun.
Oh, okay. Well, we like that a lot. Yeah, we like those kids making money. Come
That's
on.
right.
Yeah. So, Marty, you talk to colleagues, you talk to speakers, you talk to entrepreneurs all the time. Um, how are they doing now? This is a year and a half and more of COVID and coming in and out and lockdown and open and we're gonna and now we're not and masks and whatever. What are you hearing from those folks? Are they positive? Are optimistic? What's going on?
Well, those who remain positive and lots of things happening, they are still positive and lots of things are happening. They are having the busiest years of their lives, busiest months of their lives, and they're making more money than they ever have before. I mean, in the speaking business, I know a few people who have been doing nothing but speaking, going from one location to another for in-person speaking, and even staying on that in-person stage so that they can do a virtual live at another location a few hours later after they're done with one speaking opportunity. I mean, it is just crazy how some people are just packed to the gills with speaking opportunities. And then you've got the other side of the coin where a lot of people are saying, I really don't know how much longer I can even do this. I'm going to have to go find any kind of job I can. And I mean, who's to judge? I'm certainly not one to judge. It's just that a lot of people are doing real well, and a lot of people, things are just getting worse and worse and worse. And it's sad to see because
Yeah,
I just know how much talent there is out there.
absolutely. And there's also enough room for everybody.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
There is always enough room for everybody. And so we're going to be talking about speaking to promote and build our businesses. So when we think about that as entrepreneurs, business people, maybe there's a CEO of a large corporation watching this going, speaking to promote my corporation. That's okay too. You're
Yeah,
also included, Mr. and Ms. CEO, so
absolutely.
that's okay. So what should we do? What can we do right now to sort of like leap forward and start making a difference?
Mhm. Well, my answer to that might be a little different than what most people would say, because the first thing people will say is that you need to figure out what your topic is and know your audience. And that is true, but speaking definitely takes time. I'm not going to beat around the bush and make a pie in the sky kind of thing. It is a marketing outreach endeavor. So if you are going to get into speaking, you need to have the time to begin with to be able to invest. And you need to be willing to invest that time. And it's not just on getting the speaking opportunity, but it's the speaking opportunity itself and what you plan to do after that speaking opportunity. You need to have all that in the plan. And that's, my book is Lions Always Win, how to spot what you want and get it too, right? So
Yep.
that's really the beginning of that book in all cases. And speaking to build your business is one of those components, because you need to really take a hard look at the hours that you have available to spend toward this way of building your business and how that's going to affect other things. I mean, I spent 10 years I tried to get a lot of speaking opportunities, and some of them were travel oriented, but I really valued my marriage and my kids growing up. So I really knew early on that I wanted to be really specific. If I was going to travel, then like speaking at the National Speakers Association National Convention, yeah, I'm going to go do that. And I did. And that was a highlight of my speaking career. I loved doing that, and it was worth the travel. But somebody that's thinking of having maybe 30 people show up to an event in New Jersey someplace, and I have to pay my own way to get there, not so much, not so excited about that. Whereas other people are happy to rent a car and just go from place to place to place. Cavett Robert did it for years, right? So I understand that, but you really need to know how speaking is going to be in balance with the rest of your life. So I chose to do most of my speaking here in town, or at least regionally, and that was enough for me with the occasional out of state and traveling and all that. So I fit in really well to virtual. when we had to all move to a virtual presentation format, it's like, yeah, okay, well, that just expands my reach, because now I can go to more places that are outside Colorado. So I just think you have to make that choice very, very early on.
Right, right. And I think, and you've said this before, speaking is such a great way to build your business and showcase what you do. And I think it is something that if you're a business owner, you really need to seriously contemplate how it's going to work for you, if it's going to work for you. So, when we spoke several months ago, things were moving along, going in a direction. We were feeling fairly positive. So things have changed, they've changed back, and then they've gone a different direction. How are things changing now? What do you see going on right now?
Well, since the beginning of this year, 2021, I've been involved with a club on Clubhouse called Make Money Speaking. It's hosted by Lois Kramer, who you've had here as a guest, and as I have as well in my show, in my Facebook group. And I've met so many people through that I would never have conversed with otherwise. And one of those people is Tom Singer, which you've also had in your show, and I have too. And he said just last night, this is Tuesday, so just last night in Monday's Make Money Speaking, he said that a major change has happened. And that is that people who are hiring speakers right now are getting inundated with calls suddenly. For the past couple of months, they've been getting a call a day, maybe 2 calls a day, emails like they always do. Yeah. But all of a sudden, really this week and last week, they've been getting 5 and 10 and 15 calls a day from people. And these are phone calls. These are not people emailing 300 people at the same time saying, can I come speak at your event? They're calling them one by one by one. So there is your competition, is people who are getting booked are the ones that are making phone calls. So if you have phone fear, if you're a public speaker, you've overcome the fear, or you use fear to do your best job, let's put it that way, to get on stage. But picking up the phone and calling someone is right up there with the fear of speaking, and it takes practice. You need to have a script. You need to hear what people are doing that is working. And that brings me to my second point, is that it is ever more important to hang around people that are doing this work. If you try to be a speaker today and you are all on your own and you're just getting started, or maybe you were in this a couple years ago and okay, in-person events are starting to come back a little bit, I'm going to reach out to people. And I mean, there are so many things in the industry that have changed in the last couple of years. You really need to be hanging around other people doing this. So that includes National Speakers Association. That means speakers groups. It means my group on Facebook, Speakers Speak Group on Facebook. Join it, because we are discussing things every day. And of course, Clubhouse, Make Money Speaking on Clubhouse. I mean, you really just need to immerse yourself around people that are doing this work. I'm trying to think of a humorous way to, or an example or something, but no, it's not about that. Don't sit here thinking, oh, how will Marty and Dana entertain me today? No, I'm just telling you straight up. You need to right now find a group of people to hang around that are doing this work and just immerse yourself in it. And that's what so many people are not doing. And what happens when you don't do that? You can't stand the longevity. You can't stay in this long enough so that big things happen for you and you wind up just ditching it. It's like any business out there, and I'm seeing it every day, and it's just so sad. There's so much opportunity, but people aren't sticking it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think hanging around people who speak, both you and I, we've been Toastmasters for a long time. I know you love and respect Toastmasters. I love and respect Toastmasters. And Toastmasters has been, a great opportunity for me. I was not the one who was afraid to speak. I was the one that said, "Oh, Toastmasters is about public speaking," and I went, "Woohoo! Sounds like fun." So I'm that 0.00001.
Yeah, we all hated people like you.
Yeah, yeah, I'm one of those crazy people. But what Toastmasters did for me was, oh, there needs to be an opening and a closing and stuff in between that people want to hear, and there's a time frame. So I think there's places like Toastmasters is a good place for loads and loads of people.
Right.
National Speakers Association, again, what a great organization for people who speak. Wowie. But I think what we're talking about is really getting that close personal, building relationships with other speakers and getting their feedback. We hear them. Is that what we're really looking for? Much more than Toastmasters or NSA, or there has to be other ways of really connecting with speakers.
Right. Well, that's one of the big problems that I see out there is just like in the coaching business. If you join if you're a professional coach, then you're probably involved in coaching groups on Facebook. What do they all talk about? They all have these programs on how to get high-end clients, right? Well, it's the same thing in the speaking industry. All you hear about is how to get speaking gigs. I mean, every coach under the sun has some kind of get a whole bunch of speaking opportunities fast, paid speaking opportunities. I'll show you how. But there's very little emphasis on the actual presentation itself. And when you see some of these really good speakers that are booked for like 24 days out of 30 in a month, you got to wonder, what are they doing? Well, it's a lot more than just getting booked for the speaking gig. I mean, these people are amazing presenters, and a whole hour goes by and their audience has no idea they've even spent 10 minutes because they're so engaged in whatever's being presented. And I think that's really the opportunity here. And with so many people all of a sudden coming back into this business or getting in for the first time and hearing about people who are hiring speakers getting inundated with phone calls now, well, you better darn well get on that stage and be good, because you will not be asked back, and word gets around. These people are part of very small families and they refer speakers back and forth, the people who hire speakers, and your name can either have a good reputation or, oh, well, no, that person's just starting. You really don't want to, I wouldn't take the chance. Once you have that reputation, it's going to take a long time for you to get it back and change people's minds. So I love Toastmasters too. I believe it has a great place for people who are at a certain point and they're presenting. And then there's National Speakers Association, like you brought up, for learning the speaking business. But there's a big chasm in between and you don't have the opportunity to just speak and speak and speak for free and then get on a paid stage. And then, well, maybe after 5 or 6 paid opportunities, I'll be at a super high caliber of presenter. I mean, those days are over. You need to get on that first paid stage, the first free stage you get on, and just knock the ball out of the park.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I just want to, we're going to circle back around to this, but I just really have to tell you this about referring and how people who, coordinate and book speakers and how they do talk back and forth. I was speaking, doing a keynote, and I was, talking away, and I kind of glanced over, and the gal who, had brought me in was over there on her cell phone texting. Now, I certainly was not going to say, "Hey, get off your phone." But, real quickly through my brain, I went, "Oh, am I boring her? Am I, oh dear, I hope I'm really, oh, I feel terrible. What am I saying? But I just, kept on going and kept on forging through it. Okay, fine. And so afterwards, I was sitting there talking to a bunch of people, and some people were buying my books, and that was nice. And she comes over, and she had a cell phone, and she goes, "Okay, so are you available on this date?" And I said, "I'm sorry. Well, I'd have to look." And she goes, "Right. I'm so sorry. I was texting during your presentation, but I was texting the organizer of this event, and I said, I have your keynote speaker." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't mind you being on your phone at all."
Yeah, right.
Where? Are you kidding me?
Anytime.
Yeah. And so I got booked for another speaking engagement. And because I was there, that organizer spoke to somebody else who was having an event the next night. So I got
Perfect.
2 speaking gigs from that one keynote, and her texting during my presentation, and me thinking, how rude. In fact, yay. So they do talk to each other. They are constantly connecting and sharing information. So come on, folks, you need to be thinking about this.
It's a great story, and it just goes to show how you never know who's in your audience too. So a lot of people are, especially here, they're trying to get to in-person events, and you're still hearing about some in-person events that are scheduled, and they're happy to have the event, but they can't get their audiences to show up, so they're canceling or postponing the event and going totally virtual, because people who have signed up are now calling in saying, "Well, I've had second thoughts and COVID and all this stuff, so I'm not going to show up." And so they wind up canceling the event that way. And so some places are not canceling, they're going ahead with the event, and maybe they'll only have 8 people in the room instead of what they were thinking was going to be 40 or 50 people in the room.
Yeah.
And the speaker shows up and thinks, 8 people, what a waste of my time. And so they go on stage and no. You need to approach that stage like there are 8,000 people in the audience. It doesn't matter how many people are there. You could have someone in that audience that you save their life that day, or their business that day, or their marriage that day. How could you walk away from something like that, or approach that opportunity with any less energy and excitement than if there were 8,000 people in that audience?
Because you don't know. And that's the fact. If just one of those 8 or one person that sees that video, if you were doing it half-heartedly, who are you impressing? Who wants you for their event? If they see, well, yeah, it's kind of interesting, but they didn't really care. But if you put 100% into it, whether there's 8 people or 800, I really think people will see that, and it pays off in the long run. Absolutely.
And that goes for preparation too. I mean, I can't even imagine walking onto a stage today not being completely fully prepared for that presentation. And that means having a pre-programmed questionnaire, sending that to the people you're speaking for, and finding out who's going to be in the audience, what kind of challenges they have, and just scoping that all out long before you even customize your presentation for that audience.
Yeah, without a doubt. Preparation is so important. And so we were talking about preparation a little earlier, and getting involved with groups. Now you do have this group Speaker Speak. Just let's touch on that just for a second. So you have the Speaker Speak group on Facebook.
Yep.
And then you have Speakers Speak Live, and that's where speakers get together live. So it's a very clever name that you named it, Speakers Speak Live. Very nice, and easy to remember. So I'm part of that, and I love it. I love the opportunity that it gives everyone that's on there to speak in front of other speakers and get great feedback. And somebody's going to give you feedback, and I always use this as an example. Next time you speak, jump up on a chair. Well, I'm not jumping up on a chair. What are you talking about? That doesn't fit into my presentation.
Right.
Okay, so you have to take some of it and put it over here. That's a nice suggestion, but so much of it is really I think it's course changing for the speaker. You can really get advice and input that really makes a difference in how we present.
Yeah.
And I love that.
It really all started from a mutual mentor that you and I both have in Joe Saba, the late great Joe Saba. When I asked him way back in the early days when I was just getting started with speaking, I said, "So Joe, what do I really have to do to get into paid public speaking?" And he said, he got in my face. This little 5'3" guy gets in my, he's like, at that time he was like 75 years old or so. And he gets this close to me and he says, "Marty," and he kind of shook a little bit. He says, "Speakers speak." And he was spitting at me and everything. And I got the point and I never forgot it. But if you want to get into speaking, that is the answer. How do you do it? You speak. You have to do the prep stuff too. But his point was, don't wait forever. You're not going to have all the mechanics in place before you're ready to go. You just need to get out there as today. You could actually be speaking on Clubhouse in 10 minutes by going onto that app and finding some room to talk in. It's not true. I don't think of it as true professional speaking, but you would have an opportunity to voice your expertise in one of the many rooms on Clubhouse and be there every day and then start crafting your message and gaining followers. It's such an easy thing to do. What's hard to do is for people to commit to speaking. And that's what I'm offering in Speakers Speak Live, is that one place you can go every single week for 1 hour. You can put it on your calendar. If you don't have speaking opportunities on your calendar, you can't call yourself a speaker. So at least put that one on your calendar to be there every single week for 1 hour, and you are going to get the opportunity to practice and improve and refine your speaking. So that's all it is. It's free. It's for anyone. We have people from Africa and India and all around the world, and US, and we've had people from Ireland. They're everywhere, which is awesome. And it's so fun to learn different cultures and all that. But that's the one place to go. And then you have Speakers Speak Group, where that's just a Facebook group, and it's where all of us hang around all week and we talk about things that come up throughout the week. And it's just a great place to connect.
Right. And I do have Speakers Speak Live. For me, that it's a priority. Clearly, if I had a paid gig to go to, I would go and do that instead. No offense, but otherwise, if there's if I had to do something else, it would have to be before or after that. I think it's important to be around people that are speaking, and I really love that. And so you kind of keep referring to, you have to be prepared. You have to, you haven't crafted your speech. So do you have some kind of, format to follow? Something that we could, hear about, so that we, we hear, have an opening, have a close, and have something interesting in between. That's all great. But what exactly I know you have a format because you've been doing this way too long. So can you share that format with us?
Oh, I'd be happy to. It's certainly not a secret, but it's definitely a format that I've seen evolving over time. We've all been on virtual live for almost 2 years straight now. and things have changed because of it. I mean, it used to be that you'd learn the typical 4-step process of putting a speech together. And I mean, yeah, you can get through a presentation that way, but now and that's fine for casual presentation, but if you really want to go somewhere, you need to do what other people are doing. And the way that I've seen people evolving their presentations is really in 3 steps now. And the first one is to connect with your audience. What I've been doing at the beginning of my presentations is whatever, I only have a couple of topics that I talk on, but whenever I start, I say, hey, everybody, would you grab something on your desk that makes you smile? And I hold this up and everybody, they're smiling and, they're reaching for, just like what you did. You held up that little stuffed animal. Everybody has something on their desk. It could be a picture, it could be a pen, it could be another set of glasses, whatever it is. Everybody has something right there. So I like to get them started by saying, hey, this is not going to be your normal average presentation where I'm alarming you with some kind of statistic, 72% of people, blah, 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 blah. Or, the famous asking a question. I mean, we'll get to that. Right now, let's just connect.
Yeah.
So that's really step one, is spending some time just connecting with your audience before even suggesting the problem. And we can go deeper into any of these sections, but just because of time, there needs to be a point where you merge or transition that connection point with what you're going to deliver with that audience. And I think they're really kind of bored of just digesting information now. People want to spend their time wisely, and especially on virtual live. If they're not going to be texting and emailing, we need to be transforming those people. So that's what I call the second section, is what do you have to do to transform your audience from where they are now before you started speaking to adopting your view, your steps, your stories, whatever you're planning on presenting. It needs to be thought of as a method for transforming your audience. And then the third one is, of course, the end. What do we all want to do? We want people to take action, right? Well, I've built a business on taking action. That's that's my mascot right there, the picture of the dog. And that dog has the name Action. For 15 years, everywhere I've spoken, I've taken action with me. But I'm here to tell you now that taking action is not enough anymore. It's just not. You have to compel your audience so that what you are suggesting that they do, they get through with that session that you're leading, or even right in the session that you're doing. And they are so compelled to take a next step, they can't even think about anything else. Yeah. That's the job of a professional speaker. You think, how do I do that? How do I create that kind of magic? You hang around other people who are doing it, and you learn from them, and you practice in a place where other professional speakers are practicing the same thing. That's where we all learn this. And I don't want this to come across as my voice sounding frustrated, because sometimes it does. It is pure raw energy that there is a way to do this. And I'm excited about it because I know how to do it. Dana, you know how to do it. Not everybody does. And that scares me, because those people who do not know this new method of presenting to an audience are going to get out there on stage, and they're going to see their audiences just withdraw. And you'll notice it in the first 30 seconds. You'll be up there standing on stage and saying, what the heck happened? I used to present this same thing 3 years ago, and I'm losing my audience. What's going on? They're expecting you to connect with them. That's what. And
I'm still seeing speakers and speaking coaches, tell them what you're going to tell them, then tell them, and then tell them what you told them. And yes, but boy, there's so much more to it than that. Yeah. There's so much more to it. And I think you're right that the speaking business and how we connect with our audiences has completely changed. from what it used to be. And I'm glad that you pointed this out. This was such great information, and I really appreciate this. And Marty, we're out of time. Gee, many.
There's always
Zip.
more. See you in a couple of months.
Zip. Yeah, we're just like going crazy here. Crazy. But this has been really fun. So folks, I can't believe we could be going for another hour, and I know that, Marty, and that's why I keep having you back, because you just keep giving us such great information about how we can build our businesses with the speaking stuff. Come on, folks. Speaking, I want to say anyone can do it, but you have to, like you said earlier, you have to be committed to it. Mm-hmm. You can't take it, oh yeah, I'll just get up and you can't wing it. This is not open mic at some bar or something. You got to really be committed. I know I don't write word for word. That's not me. But I know I'm going to speak these points, and these are the points I want after those points. I mean, every time that I know that. So you have to be practiced. You have to be committed. You have to know what you're saying and be prepared. And I think you've really pointed that out. So.
And I think it comes through on even podcast interviews like this. I mean, when you get this new method of speaking down, it comes out in every conversation you have. I mean, even right now, you brought up herenextyear.com. Well, you got Speaker Speak Group, you got Speaker Speak Live, tons of resources for you. But I suggest that everybody listening to this goes to herenextyear.com and becomes a free lifetime member of Here Next Year. And I'll tell you why. I put together a 10-part checklist for professional speaking. And it's not just my stuff. It has Lois Kramer stuff in there. We've got Frank Kitchen. He's one of those guys that I was telling you about that's been speaking like 25 days this month.
Yeah.
And Mike Domish is in there, lots of sections from him. So it's free. I just want people to have it, but it's worth opting in for because it changes every couple of months, just like the speaking business. So I need to be able to refresh that and then get it out to everybody that wants it and all that. So go get it, herenextyear.com.
Absolutely. And here's some information. Hello. If I could get you're the technical guy, fix this, Marty. So here's Marty's information, Marty Dickinson. And Marty, if you want to reach out to him, Marty at HNY Projects, that's Here Next Year, hnyprojects.com, and the website is herenextyear.com. Get in there and opt in to get that information. It is such great information. And then speakersspeakgroup.com, go there, and that takes you straight to the Facebook page, and connect there and get in with a bunch of other speakers. It has really changed the way I look at things, and change the way, this call to action. It's not just a call to action. It's compelling. You need to compel your audiences. Yeah, is that a call to action? Okay, but it's different. It is a different way of looking at it. So, Marty, thank you so much for being here. And all of you out there, I am Coach Dana Inspires, and I am at CoachDanaInspires.com. I work with women entrepreneurs. I help them find their value, because women, we have a tendency to undervalue what we have to offer. So let's find our value, find your perfect client, and then let's go out and change the world one person at a time. So if you have questions about what I do, there's my information right down there. If you want to be interviewed on this show, there's my information. And if you have any comments, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Dana at CoachDanaInspires.com. And so we are out of time, Marty. And thank you so much for being here. Great information. I just really appreciate you. And come on, folks, think about this new format. We want to connect, we want to transform, and we want to compel. Great stuff. Go to Marty's website, herenextyear.com, and just get his information. Thank you, Marty. Really appreciate you.
And don't forget to have fun.
Thanks, fun. Dana. Absolutely. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday on Business Inspiration.